Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hand of Fate 2. So we're in the middle of a mission. I'm not sure which one this one was called. The one before it was called Strength and we failed that one. I guess the only thing you could possibly do is set camp to review the mission. But I don't think we need to do that. We're doing the Hermit is what it's called, now that I think about it. We're hunting down this mage in this magical winter forest, and we have event cards that make the Empire get closer or further away from beating you to the Hermit, which we obviously, for the gold reward, want to beat the Empire. So we put in event cards, hopefully, to reveal points on the map, because we're going to try and skip doing every event on the map, unlike pretty much every other mission where you really need to play every event on the map. So the right move here is to go forward, because if there's a card reveal like the tower here that would reveal what was on left, right, and up of that one spot, that would reveal 3 cards, which is about the maximum I think you'd ever get. It's less helpful if you went down and it revealed just 2 cards, or if you went to the right or the left. Well, those 2 would also work. But yeah. Let's go forward. You find a tree etched with strange markings. There's a sign pointing towards the Hermit. Is this a sign pointing towards the Hermit? So you get these further in cards that set you back and move the Empire quicker. Also, every move you make moves the Empire closer by 1 day. So every move, I guess, throughout every mission has always equated to 1 day's worth of journey. And yet they just didn't really explain that well at all. The clean snow is marred by heavy footprints. Empire must be ahead of you. So now the Empire draws 4 days closer to the Hermit. Not knowing what else to do, you press on. Okay. So now the decision would be to go to the left or right. We will just choose left.
A simple part of every story, especially a tale spent in the company of allies and boon companions.
So we have friendly innkeeper. As night draws in, you return to the Rusty Razor. The proprietor greets you with warmly, "What can I provide to the savior of the Rusty Razor?" So I wonder if this event card was unlocked by some other event card. Probably was, but we've seen a lot of inns, and they've all had, I guess, different names, but it's kind of hard to keep them all straight in your mind. Yeah, it's kind of hard to keep all the storylines straight in your mind, since you get tiny little slices of them when you randomly land on an event card. And it would be very nice if at some point they unlocked a collection feature where you could just look at all the cards and see how each card is connected to other cards, if they happen to be connected to other cards. Alright. So what I want to do is probably heal, buy a meal, or rest. What do you require? I want to discuss the latest rumors, hoping that will reveal something on the card. The innkeeper tells you about a recent cheese festival has kept the inn busy and his coffers full. Okay. Why would we need to rest? Since you automatically sleep. So let's ask about that. Looking for lodging, we have some fresh made beds for travelers such as yourself. It's free, of course. Assuming you have some provisions. So we can consume 1 food to heal 5 life, is I guess what resting is. We should probably buy food. And that's about all I can afford. And we can't apparently afford to heal. So nothing on that card helped. Right. So we could go to the left more. Probably don't want to go down. We may end up just having to spiral around.
A creature of confusion, but no malice.
So, Sharptooth. We saw this event card in the previous level of this mission, and I chose not to engage with it. A small blue imp materializes on the path ahead of you. It grins, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. I am Sharptooth. The creature rushes at you, arms outstretched. You back away from its enthusiastic embrace. Undeterred, Sharptooth merely grins. I will move the forest around. Say yes. Empire will fall 10 days behind. Say no. I would say yes. Okay, so that's just gonna reshuffle the cards completely. Forest spasms in the trees on the horizon shift back and forth as if moved by an invisible hand. The Empire falls 10 days behind. Seemingly content, Sharptooth simply fades from view, waving cheerfully all the while. Okay, so that means everything is just reshuffled. I imagine it's still the same cards though, but if there was any logical location of things, it now certainly has been randomized. With little warning, a snowstorm sweeps in from the north. The snow whips against you like shards of glass and obscures your vision. You struggle to find cover. The Empire falls 4 days behind. We're looking for huge success. We fail. We take pain. We move forward. Let's see. See if we can maybe sell some equipment. Let's sell that and keep everything else. And see if we can buy some food. Because we're going to continuously have this problem of not having enough food. If I had enough gold, I would have bought some of these new cards. I suppose we could inspect these cards though and just make them no longer be labeled as new. And that may be as much as you really need to do. And we can't heal. You hope your food supply lasts for winter trail. Blizzard. Empire fallen 4 days behind also. Huge failure. Empire draws 4 days closer. Alright, so we have a 50-50 shot here. It's either going to be in the 5 or it's going to be on the outer edge in the top right section. I guess it's probably a little bit smarter just to go this way. We are running out of time quickly. I imagine there's 3 further in cards. We have like 1 more piece of food.
Nobility continues to reward itself and the rich become yet more wealthy.
His narrating lines really... Yeah, you can clearly see they're triggered when you land on a certain card, but they just feel like these weird speed bumps. Maybe if I wasn't trying to be a video game critic and commentating, it would be alright to just have him talk while I was silently reading and playing the game. But even then it would feel fairly distracting to listen to somebody say one thing and try and read something at the same time. feels like his comments should be like right before a fight, when you've already done all the reading, or right after a fight. Yeah, or even during a fight when you're not actually doing any reading. But then that would limit his commentary to just fights, which aren't quite common enough. The Palace Armory is holding a special promotion for the nobility. The guards block your entrance. Peasants are forbidden from entering the Palace Armory. Turn away or be sent to the dungeon. You require 16 fame. So that didn't help me any. Now we're starving. While trudging through the snow, you hear the shout and the sound of swords being drawn. It's only a matter of time before the sounds of combat attract more patrol. So, weirdly, in this mission, we're fighting the Empire when we don't really have a great reason to be fighting the Empire. We're supposedly working for the Empire. So in this, we are trying to defeat the enemies quickly before time runs out. And you have plenty of time, really, at least on easy mode. It may not be that you really have enough time on harder mode. I really can't imagine too many people actually playing this on its normal mode and enjoying it. It does feel like that it's just asking you to hone a skill that is not the main skill of this game. Certainly there are a lot of other gamers that run into similar things, like the pipes minigame to hack vending machines in BioShock 1. For instance, like you can get really good at that, but that is not the run and gun shooting mechanic that BioShock is built around. So a lot of people inherently didn't get good and didn't care about the hacking minigame, and knowing that, they made it easy enough to ignore or circumvent that minigame. Whereas Skyrim, a much older game, shows a prime example of what goes wrong when you don't do that.
Around in my mind, time on time,
where the lockpicking minigame
and
in Skyrim
must not
cannot really be avoided and is fairly annoying and repetitive. And frankly, I think most people, or at least a significant enough percentage of people, never figured out the right way to do lockpicking. I'm not sure I ever figured out the right way to do lockpicking in Skyrim. You loot the bodies and hurry away. You gain 4 fame. Right, so let's inspect. Bash 50 enemies for 10 defense. This has a map reveal. That's why we had it in here. Complete 75 wheel gambits. So this one's the better one to take. We've gotten probably enough food now. So what I'm gonna do, well, every step is a day, so whether or not you reveal a new event or not, every step is a day. So I probably should just run towards that watchtower. We have 14 days left.
Brawling on the street for money. These are actions I'd expect of the usurper, but from you, I had hoped to see better.
One day you come across a bare knuckle competition in the alley. This one's just called Street Fighter, obviously. There's a joke there. An old man with few remaining teeth notes your interest. When choosing your opponent, he wheezes, remember the purse. If you survive, it will depend on how quickly you beat them. Okay, so what weapon do we have equipped? Use the weapon ability. So that could be any kind of enemy. Bash, charge bash. I don't know how you charge a bash, even. Bash 50 enemies as they block. Okay. Remember your purse. If you survive will depend. So, I feel like fighting Northerners might be the best move here. And it doesn't seem like you have much of a choice. Any one-handed weapons are recommended. We're not going to take that recommendation. So I can see how Street Fighter has an event card, even though it doesn't have like a reward here. What's interesting here is there's like a rat on the ground. So yeah, I definitely shouldn't have chosen Northerners in that case, but whatever. And I think I pressed bash, but I don't know if that's a charge bash. You're one to reckon with, the organizer comments as he brings forward a chest. My health now is really low. We gained 4 fame, plus 10 max life, and plus 10 gold, plus another 10 gold. We have enough food, so maybe we should
Take
set
a moment
camp.
to seek warmth, yet do not forget your quest.
I don't even know if I have a grenade equipped. I do have this bomb artifact, but apparently I'm not using it, so why am I not using it? Can't afford that. Probably don't need food. Let's cook food though and see if that turns out to be the truth. There's 5 foods left, so I could do that. I could buy some food for a high price, and that loses us our gold. I think that's about as good. We have 8 days left. Let's see. See if we can buy some healing. No. We can discuss the rumors. So discussing the rumors did reveal another card on the table. So we know that is Winter Trail. Are we going for Winter Trail? I don't think so, because we've already seen Winter Trail as a card. So we're down to 3 positions. We go to this watchtower, and it potentially will tell me the right positions. I probably should have saved the gold for the shard on the watchtower, come to think of it. Oh well. And it doesn't matter anyways, because this is the hidden mages. In a small clearing, you stumble across another group of exiled mages. After some insistence, they lower their guard. And we can ask about the hermit, I guess. The Tin Village is well hidden in the sweeping snow and fog. You can spend time here in exchange for resources. Ask about the hermit. The distracted mage waves his hands toward the forest without looking up from his readings. Yes, the hermit is that way. He doesn't often take visitors. I've never seen him anyway, so that's not much information. Ask about Sharptooth. A horrible little imp grumbles a mage as he stares into the beakerful bubbling liquid. God knows how he does it, but every time he shifts the forest around, it plays havoc with my readings. Okay, so we will continue on our journey. Mages point you vaguely in the hermit's direction, even they are not certain of his whereabouts. Stay fast to the path of bluebells. If you're at the Great Lake, you've gone too far. Alright, so there's a whole nother level here. Unfortunately, the layout here is even bigger, and 7 days are all we have. So we need to get rather lucky. With no idea of the lay of the land, you know not what lies ahead of you. This card provides the best results when the surrounding encounters are already revealed. Interesting. So we got Dangerous Wilds. Wilds are home to many a rebel, dangerous criminal and beast. One-handed and recommended against northerners. I'm just going to continue to use my same old weapon though. I want to get some of these shards and requirements done with weapons so I can focus on other weapons. I don't want to be at the very end of the game and have like 20 different things that are 90% of the way 90% of the way fulfilled in their requirements. Whoops. Still very easy to get ensnared by trappers, and there you can see his legs glitching like crazy. With the battle resolved, you scavenge what you can from the remains. You gain 4 fame. Well, that gave me 3 revealed encounters, which tells me at least a little bit as far as which way to go. Like, unless we've just gotten really lucky here. Unrest at Iron Peak we know is an extra event. Winter Trail, we should probably move towards Winter Trail. But yeah, we'll skip Blizzard, although Blizzard would give us more time, and set back the Empire. I think we go with Winter Trail. So let's go here. General store. I'll just go ahead and leave. A bluebird lights on a tree and begins to chirp. You wonder whether this is too merely a product of the hermit's magic. Okay, that didn't help me any. Let's see. Empire falls 4 days behind. We need huge success. Inherently, I think what you need to do with these card shuffles is probably just see if you can figure out the what the top card is and follow what the top card is, and then either avoid or click on the top card, even if it's not the best best move. So it's almost certainly worth it to set the Empire back another 10 days. And probably you need to do that every time.
It is not too late to plan better.
So yeah. But even in that, I have no idea. Like, I just don't think these card shuffles work at all. Follow the goblin. I think it's probably worth it to go and try and do that event. On Drunken Night. You feel cold stone against your cheek, head pounding. You open your bleary eyes. The unmistakable scrape of metal wakes you fully from your slumber, and you slowly take stock of your surroundings. So this might be one of these weird, probably they are DLC, avoid the trap sections. And so we see gold on the left and the right, so we have to kind of go everywhere. And I guess if you're just somewhat true in your actions, you're pretty safe here. Problem is turning around. Like, this is as much as you can turn around, so you're either going to shift your images this way, or there's a slidiness also to your character and how they walk. So we're just trying to collect everything, setting off booby traps. As far as the bear traps, don't seem like they really matter. Almost walked onto that. Seems pretty obvious though that these booby traps just could not really be in the main fight section very often. You could maybe have one of these pop up every now and then, but that's pretty much it. Because it would be too dangerous and too much of a distraction, and it would not really work very well with the kind of wonky controls and the wonky fight mechanics. Yeah, at a certain level, it does just kind of feel like this game is desperate to figure out how to program what would be just a more traditional action adventure hack and slash type game, and they just, now 2 games in the sequel, have not managed to program something that is kind of basic. Like, you certainly see plenty of other independent companies make games like that play better. Maybe some of this is the Unity engine's fault, but I imagine almost none of it really is. And frankly, I just don't know why they even bothered to try. I would have just been as happy had they gotten rid of all the action sequences, or allowed you to disable the action sequences in Hand of Fate 2, to focus more on the card game. You follow the stairs upward until you emerge in the forest, the morning sun burning your eyes. We gain 25 gold, 6 food, and 2 fame. With that, why did I not get to shard there? You fumble on your haversack for something to eat. Happily, you find a half-eaten pastry and try to find your way out of the woods. So is there a specific amount of time you have to do that event, or is there some other action that needed to be taken? Maybe not take damage, maybe it is just randomized. The whole thing does kind of feel like a lot of these events to earn the shards are just random events. Okay. Thought I had followed the card there. And every time it reveals a card, it doesn't zoom in enough. Going near the scouting party is probably not a terrible thought. That would reveal more cards. And see, kind of the problem now is I'm short on health. So if we do this follow the goblin, which I want to do,
Goblins, they lead to naught but trouble.
it's going
Were it
to
in my hands, I would never deal with them.
cost me something, I'm sure. Spy goblin half hidden in the corpse of a tree. I feel like there should be corpse of a tree. It seems like they misspelled a word here. Counting the gold weighing down his sack, started by your present, he beats a hasty retreat through a magical portal. You tell Hubie to stay behind before pursuing the goblin through the portal. And ironically, this extremely rare scenario has led to us doing it twice, which that really shouldn't have happened that way. The layout is different. And there's some basic tricks here, like always move on the edges of these things. And I'm pretty sure at any point I could probably hit A and roll if necessary. You can also hit X. Whoops. Now I see some treasure back in the back there. I'm hoping that we're going to end up reaching that back section. We gotta be fairly careful. Well, see, the whole map is basically just twisted a little. These are timed differently. I tried to roll through that trap and it didn't let me. Weird. So we're taking damage, and we really can't afford to take damage. And the camera pivots in kind of an awkward way. Almost all of these traps are solved the exact same way, though. It's just wait for them to activate, then walk. the bear traps are about the only one that's slightly different. So I think we got everything there was to get to there. Pretty obviously there's just not a lot of variety in the layout of these areas, and not a lot of variety in what you can collect, since there really is only fame, gold, and health, or food. You exit through the glowing door to find yourself more or less in the same place as before. You gain 25 gold and gain 4 food. Yubi waves at you from a few steps away. The crunching of leaves underfoot betrays the goblin running toward further into the forest. So apparently we've unlocked Follow the Goblin again. And we've moved the reward to that. And so we can just continue to follow the goblin. And we have 23 days, so we probably should just do that. The goblin turns to see you're still in pursuit. He shouts exasperation. Leave me be, meddling human. The mournful blare of his horn echoes through the forest. Another portal yawns before you, the goblin nowhere in sight. I guess we have to follow the goblin and jump in the portal. Which means maybe we're going to do that exact same scenario a third time in a row. And if you were doing the Follow the Goblin scenario, then yeah, that would exactly be what would happen. Yeah. I definitely think the move here would have been to use these traps much more sparingly in a few encounters instead of having giant trap sections. Is there gold over there? Yes, there is. It almost feels like this is just a tutorial way of trying to train the player to be better at moving the character left and right. Unfortunately, that would imply that I think that the problem is with the player using a controller. Which I don't really feel like that is the issue. I think it is very much more of an issue of the game itself. Now, did I get that green over there? I think I did. And it almost felt like I can walk off the ledge here and fall to my death, and I don't think the game wants you to be able to do that. It seems like there's kind of invisible walls everywhere else. That would be pretty insane if there was some kind of secret invisible wall you were trying to avoid. Or some kind of secret invisible wall you were trying to find to get the reward. You find yourself facing down in a pile of leaves, being shaken awake by Hubie. Slightly dazed, you hear the jangle of coins in the distance. So I guess the question is, does this just keep on happening? Or is the trick to just stop following him? Catch up to the goblin just as he leaps into another portal. His face contorts into a look of irritated disbelief as your eyes meet. Follow the goblin. I guess we'll do this one more time, but after that I think, just say stop following the goblin. Like, maybe that's the trick, is to just stop following him. What I'm losing here is life with every mistake. So I need to be cautious about that. Maybe the trick here is to not take any damage and collect everything. And maybe not trigger any of the bear traps. Which, if that is the requirement. See, this one seems like almost impossible to do without taking damage. You'd have to like roll. Yeah. Two, maybe too many. One is very manageable because you can just walk on the edge. But my movement speed is not fast enough to try and pursue or roll through two. And I can't even get the camera angle the way I want it to go here. So I don't even know if there is a thing worth collecting over here. Okay, I see gold. Yeah, this is really highlighting how awkward the whole camera angle is. We're getting all kinds of gold. Just way more gold than we would actually need. Let's fix this. The portal deposits you directly in the path of an oblivious Hubie, bowling him over. As you pick yourself up off the ground, you spy the elusive goblin escaping over a hill. I wonder if this does not stop until we just... Yeah, I wonder if it doesn't stop until you've just exhausted all possibilities. Let's see. I will take that. How many foods can we afford to really go through to get our health back up? Probably about as much as I can do. Alright, so I'm willing at this point to just stop following the goblin and see what happens there, because I just want to move forward. With that, we stopped following the goblin and nothing happened. So now we are back to working our way towards the scouting party to try and finish this level. So there's 4 different outcomes. one of which is Dangerous Wilds. I definitely could feel, once we've played each mission, once we've seen everything, I could definitely see a situation where I am just not going to really try to... Yeah. It very well will be speed running the game at the end. I'm just going to stop reading everything. I'm going to stop caring about things. We'll get into fights and not really know why we got into fights. Pious robes. Stops us from starving. Apparently I have done 2 charged bashes. What's that one say? Perilous chance. That probably is what we should go for. Let's go to the scouting party and see how that goes. We're now down to 9 days. Trade information. Okay, odds. Odds are good now. We have very few cards not revealed, but I still need to go into the more zoomed in. Looks like we'll get back to the capital at the end of the week. Yeah, whatever the dialogue is there. So we have a general store this way. We have a perilous chance. We have a perilous chance, so we know that's not right. We have mage hunting. We've seen that. Mage hunting. Blizzard. Alright. So it looks to me like none of these cards are the right card, unless a perilous chance happens to be the right card, and there are just 2 locations. Also, I guess would come down to, should I waste a day going to the general store to buy things? I think the answer is probably yes. At the very least, we should look and inspect things. Tin food. We may just try and see if we can have as much food as possible, just to see if that goes towards any kind of achievement. And we're now low on gold. Two days away.
You have found the
We got
hermit,
lucky.
although this entire meeting was ordained. You would not be here if you had not once been there.
Yeah, once again, the game just reminding us that we're playing a game based on what supposedly were the events of my life, the player character's life before this, and now we are, I guess, reviewing the events, but also remembering the events. It's kind of circular logic. Speaking of circular logic, I can't help but notice that the Empire is 1 day away and we found the Hermit. So either we got very lucky here, or the game is programmed so that you always find the Hermit 1 day away if you happen to be on the 3rd level. Here is where the fog hangs heaviest. You spy a lone tent surrounded by a thick blanket of snow. Approach the tent. You enter the tent. On the floor, a small copper bowl burns with a warming blue flame. The tent is otherwise unadorned and unfurnished. An old man sits cross-legged in the middle of the space, the hermit. He is small, very small. Colorful cloth and thick swarths of moss have been draped over his shoulders, swamping the hermit's delicate frame. He is pale, sickly, and his skin stretched tight over his gaunt face. His eyes are closed and he doesn't appear to be breathing. Hubie peers wide opened up at the hermit. I've never seen a dead person sitting up before. He's not dead. You turn to see a young woman dressed in scholar robes standing at the entrance of the tent. Not yet, anyways. He uses all of his energy to preserve the forest. It's killing him. The hermit does not move, yet his voice rings out around you. All of these cards have already been played. I have a role yet to fulfill. I do not die today. So it seems like we're going to fight a 1 of Arcane. The woman looks sadly at the hermit. So we have 3 things. Let's see. Say the Empire is coming, which probably just moves the story forward. So let's ask some questions. Ask her what protects the hermit. I keep out the bears and wolves well enough. Ask how the hermit eats. He draws his power from the earth, but even that cannot sustain him enough for this. Say the Empire is coming. The woman nods. It was only a matter of time before they found us. The hermit sits deathly still, surrounded by his winter forest. And I guess our only choice is to wait until the Empire arrive. We set up in front of the hermit's tent and wait. So did we accomplish that goal, or did we fail that goal? It being struck through and in white, I'm not sure. One way or the other. General William arrives with his mage hunters on the morning of the 4th of 3rd summer. So apparently they're going to now mention a calendar system, like that's going to matter in the story. He sees you and smiles without a hint of surprise. Ah, it's the meddling civilian. You steel your nerves and draw your weapon. Okay. General of Steel. The general is seeing black and forbidden things. The mage hunters who accompany have even now begun to suspect him of heresy. General calls forth a hail of arrows. When they sound their horns, use the evade to make yourself scarce. General William. Look at the dead eyes and face of this character. Yeah. It really is just not the makers of this game's forte to try and animate characters. And sure, this might look good enough if you squeezed it down to like a Nintendo Switch screen, but it just doesn't make sense, even I imagine on a Steam Deck with more modern technology and better higher resolutions. This comes off in 2024 as looking as a very ugly 3D model, even for what would be playable on a mobile phone. Right. The general down, so we can take out the rest of these guys with our own time. That definitely doesn't feel like that was a particularly special boss fight on easy mode. His platoon dead at his feet and his plumed helmet splattered with blood. The wounded general grips his sword in defiance. Talk to Hubie at the campfire to recharge your bomb artifact. You don't care about that. Kill the general yourself, let the mage woman decide. I kind of don't think it matters one way or the other, so let's let the mage woman decide. As you lower your weapon, General William shuts his eyes with relief. The woman's face twists with rage and her hands to glow with dark energy. If you will not finish him, I will. Hold, Valley. You turn to see the hermit standing in the door of his tent. We can afford to be merciful. Our roles here are determined, and we must act upon them. He stares deep into your eyes. We have more business, you and I, but that comes later. Go forth and meet the fates. The woman lowers her hands and stares at you defiantly. Now we can be safe, even if just for a moment. And so we have the upbeat music, and we got the gold on the hermit.
Success, and the secrets of the hermit are unfolded to you.
For protecting the hermit from the Empire's purge, which they really didn't set the story up, I think, well enough to explain why we were protecting the hermit. It feels like our companion at the very beginning should have said, we must protect the hermit. There's something about, for some reason I know that we need to do that. Otherwise it seemed like we were just kind of raising the Empire to kill the hermit, and it definitely feels like there was a different way this could have been written, where we would have just beaten the Empire to the hermit's tent and then fought the hermit and killed him. And this would be about the second time we've had a mission where it feels like the story is just not justifying itself well enough as far as why you have to do one thing over the other. It would be easy to write the story to say the hermit is expanding his frozen forest into the Empire, and it threatens to starve out thousands of people as he freezes their crops, and that would make him the bad guy. Or we could have just made the general a bad guy too. And even in the description there, the thought that he might be doing black magic and heresy seems like it's not really going to play any role in the story. So we've got some event cards. We have the Mage's Workshop, the Helpful Priest, the Holy Relic, and the Healer. Only two of which have shards on them, so we'll want to play Helpful Priest and Holy Relic once to know what they do, and that's probably the last time we would play them. So we also get some item cards that we can draw, equipment cards. Imperial Armor, Will of the Emperor, Scorched Blade, and a Golden Shield. Now if they're going to introduce the idea of weapons having specific elemental damage, that'd probably be too much. So I imagine the Scorched Blade maybe does fire damage, or just has an animation of fire on it and does more damage than average, but it probably isn't the case that specific enemies are weak to fire or strong against fire. Kind of rock, paper, scissors mechanic. For braving the winter forest, your supplies have been added to. We now have Fate's Path. And that seems to be it. So we traveled quite a bit in that, and it's still, the cards that we played weren't more of the random cards. So overall, we're running about 50% here. With strength, we couldn't even finish it, and then the Hierophant, the Emperor, and the High Priestess all only getting silver. And I don't think getting silver versus gold is really going to affect how quickly the remaining missions unlock. It's weird that the game has a thunderstorm playing in the background. It counteracts the calming nature of the background music. But yeah, there's really no reason to go back and try something else. So next time we will do the wheel, and we'll look through the new cards and try and play new cards and continue down that path of discovery. It is very possible by the time we get to the end of the path of discovery, once we've just seen everything, there will be very little motivation to continue playing at that point. It'll be down to just how many achievements do you unlock in the second act and the third act of this game, and how much motivation will you really have to play the DLC elements and play the missions a second time or third time to get gold on them. Hopefully we don't run into a case where the game requires us to get gold on all the previous missions to do the final boss fight. I also wonder if the fact that this has 99 achievements, which I think is about the maximum that you can have on Steam, maybe there's a way you can get more than that. I wouldn't be surprised if half of them are just based on playing Enlist mode for a very, very long time. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and keep on watching. Thanks.